Today's video is all about what you could purchase at your local goods store. Again, for most people, it's Walmart, but it's things that if you pick up, you are building a great list of prepper items. And most of these, you don't have to pick up all at once. You can take your time and pick them up, and they're everyday items. So hopefully they'll always be there where you can grab one here, grab one there. And then when you turn around and look, you have a wide supply of good things that can help you in your independent and self-sustaining journey to prepping. Especially as you walk into 2024, won't you start making a list of saying, you know what, over the next 12-month period, I'm gonna pick up this. I believe you're gonna see needs and necessities for those for a lot of occasions. But let's start picking those up, and here's a good list to start that journey. This video starts right now.
Nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down. Feel alive when I'm in this town.
Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here. We hope that you had a great Christmas holiday and enjoyed the season with your family, but most of all, realize what it was about. It's about Jesus. So thank you so much for being here, spending your time with me today. Now, did you notice? We have a beautiful little calf on ground. So guess what? Tomorrow starts a whole new series of milking for us. We love having milk on farm. It is extra chores and extra time and a lot of extra stress for us, but as part of a sustainable journey, when we talk about prepping and we talk about having a homestead, having a milk cow is very, very important. If you want to check out videos about family milk cows, if you're interested in that, I have a whole playlist based on just milk cows. We'll tell you through the journey of having a calf, and this calf especially, and the piglets and all that stuff on our vlog channel. Check that out, The Max Life. But today's video is not about the calf, even though the calf is pretty awesome. Today's video is about prepping needs that you can pick up at your local store or Walmart. Now, I know a lot of people always kind of hit these videos and say, well, why are you promoting Walmart? It's not that I'm promoting Walmart. It's just for most of us, we don't have some big supply or surplus store. If you do, shop local, definitely. But if you don't, hit these up at Walmart. These are some great purchases. Number one, go to the camping section, look for water filters. They have the bladder style where you pour the water in, it bladders and filters down into a cup or flask of some sort. If you don't like the bladder style because you have to carry it around, they also have things like the little Sawyer filter bottles. They also have water tablets. All these are great purchases, and all of these can be done for about 20 bucks or less. So this would be a great purchase. Just think how valuable water is. If you could not have water, how much is it worth to you? Well, we're talking 20 bucks here, people. So pick up a bladder style water filter or pick up a Sawyer filter. This is invaluable when it comes to your clean water. Number two, stay in the camping section, and right next to the water section there's some cast iron and things like that. A lot of times they'll have thermoses and flashlights. All those are good purchases. But next to that there is some freeze-dried foods. Now, I typically buy my freeze-dried foods from a different provider because they tend to be a little bit more nutrient dense versus these being a little bit more calorie heavy, but maybe empty calories. Now, they're very carb heavy, and most freeze-dried foods are, but they can still give you nutrients when you need them, and especially when you don't have a way to access a lot of extra food. Having some freeze-dried foods that's going to last 25 years on your shelf is a good thing. Again, I have links to different versions that I personally love better than the ones at your local Walmart or feed store. But if you could pick up a little canister, sometimes they make 24-hour kits, 48-hour kits, 72-hour kits, a week kit. Why don't you pick some of those up? This would be a perfect buy to give to someone or to have and just put it back in your pantry. It lasts 25 years. If all of a sudden it seems like you don't need it anymore, just eat it. It's probably gonna be some black bean burgers or some pancakes. So check out some freeze-dried foods. This would be a great number two. You can usually pick up the little kits ready-made for you, makes it easy. Even though we preserve, even though we raise our own meat on farm, we have freeze-dried foods and we buy them pretty heavily because we want to make sure they're there just for insurance. Now, number 3 and 4, we're going to move to the automotive section. First would be a battery charger or a battery bank jumper cable. So meaning if you have jumper cables, that's perfect. But remember, you have to have a secondary vehicle for that. I always have jumper cables in my vehicle. Now, also, I would challenge you to look at the battery little boosters. It just basically is a little jump start booster. You can charge it up and put it in your car. The benefit of that is it's a little battery bank. You can turn around and jump your car off if you need, but also it's a little charger, it's a little battery bank to be able to put anything and everything hooked to it, USBs. And And then number 4 runs into that. That same little battery bank has a compressor built in. Now, if you want to buy that whole set, great, but you're gonna spend about 150 bucks. If you don't want to do that and you want to buy another little separate compressor to put in your car or to put close, have you ever been stranded? I mean, for instance, when we went to Colorado, we have Fix-A-Flat, of course, but we blew out our whole sidewall of our tire. Well, Fix-A-Flat won't fix that. So when we changed it, of course, my spare is in the car. We've checked the spare, but it was a little low. Having a compressor that we can just plug into the car and literally be able to fill up my tire was worth its weight in gold. These are great investments. 3 and 4, I would challenge you to have these in your car or close proximity to where you're never stranded on the side of the road. Back to the sporting section. This time of year, it's hunting season here. So they put all their hunting gear out, all their winter stuff out. You'll see a lot of things that you need when you talk about hunting. Well, one thing that is excellent to look for is a dehydrator. Now in the food section, they probably have a dehydrator too, but in the hunting section, they always have a dehydrator because a lot of people are making deer jerky and trying to process their own foods. Dehydrators are a game changer. Now I believe freeze dryers are phenomenal, but they're expensive. But a dehydrator you can pick up for under 100 bucks, and it's one of the best investments you'll make. You can do meat. We love making jerky. Now you're making shelf-stable meat for a long time other than just canning, and you don't need anything other than grabbing it out of the thing and eating it. We freeze dry fruits, we freeze dry all kinds of things, herbs. You are now making nutrient-dense food that's gonna be shelf-stable in your pantry. A dehydrator is a game changer for you and your family. If you don't wanna go to Walmart and buy it, that's fine. I bet you could find one at a junk store or like a consignment store or at rummage sales. Our first one that we used for years, I bought for $1 at a rummage sale because somebody said it's worthless, we don't use it. There was nothing wrong with it. They just didn't like to dehydrate food. It's a patience thing, but it is a game changer when it comes to prepping. Number 6 is a ready-made toolkit. Now, Christmas season always brings in all the, the dad gifts where they put them all in the middle of these supermarkets where it's just random knives, socks, some of these little toolkits that's already put together. Well, you know what? If you're really just being honest, those toolkits are not bad to have. Now, every man probably gets one of those like every year for Christmas. So if they have 20 of them, it may not be worth buying. But if you don't have it, having a full set of tools, even if it's more economic tools like Harbor Freight or Walmart, some of those tools may not last forever, but those tools could get you out of a pinch. The other day I had to use a socket set, and to be honest with you, my good socket set, I leave it at my house, but I keep a travel style version of that in our car, and it's just some knockoff cheap set. It got me out of a bind. Don't underestimate how valuable tools are. Having a ready-made full set of just tools. Sometimes they sell 80 piece, 100 piece, 150 piece, 200 piece, whatever you want to splurge on. This is a great investment. You can spend upwards from 24 to 100 bucks or even more. But have a ready-made set in your home, in your apartment, in your car. This is huge to have because you never know when you may need a simple socket, a simple wrench, a simple Phillips head or flathead. Especially with us living on a farm, we use that stuff daily. It's amazing how much you need stuff like that, how many tools you need daily. And I'm not even a construction guy, I don't work on a lot of stuff, but just necessity around my home. So I challenge you to pick up a nice ready-made tool set. A lot of times they're in the men's section or men gifts, just because most of the time people don't know whether to buy their spouse or buy a man in their life for Christmas, so they make these little tool sets. They're actually a good investment. Number 7, it's time to try to make yourself a little bit better in shape. We talk about this all the time. It's free to work out. You don't have to pay a monthly subscription to a gym. You don't have to act like you're going to go start it back in January because you started this New Year's resolution. But I promise you this, if you just go and pick up a few free weights, resistance bands, you pick up some things to incentivize you to jog or walk or run. When you start working out and doing things like that, it really is a changing of your life. Now, if you could tell, I'm a little sweaty, just got done with farm work, and then I went and ran. Now, do I want to go run every day? Probably not. Do I want to lift weights every day? Probably not. But it's good for our health. If we try to balance out our health and try to eat right and prep and live sustainable, but then don't actually take care of our bodies, then what are we doing? It's like you're just a hamster in a wheel that's going in a circle. You're not going anywhere. So pick up some little workout equipment. I'm not telling you invest in some big total gym for thousands of dollars. We literally started buying things 5 to 10 years ago, and we'd buy piece here, piece there, piece there, piece there, and now we've got this little home workout gym that is not impressive at all, but it's perfect for us. So start picking up some of that stuff. You know, in sporting goods places, in sporting goods sections of like Walmart, they have little bikes, little treadmills, little walkers, all kinds of resistant bands, any and everything. If you want a sweatsuit and look really cool running down the road, that's cool too, they have that. But you need to pick up some of these things to start getting in better shape, not just because it's supposed to be January 1st, because it's good for you and your family to be healthy. Number 8, I say this all the time, but pick up some charcoal. It's always good to have some charcoal. If you can pick up one of those cheap little grills, a lot of times this time of year in these sporting goods stores and even Walmart, they'll put like rollback grills that they don't use and didn't sell for the summer season. Buy those for a lot cheaper, and then also start buying the charcoal to go along with it. Not that you're trying to get ready for grilling season, but it's a great alternative energy and a great way to cook when you need it. We love grilling here. It's just a very big part of our life. We smoked brisket and made steak the other night for Christmas Eve, and then we ate it Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It's a way that we can meal prep, we can spend time with our families, and it is cheap because you're not using your energy indoors to cook out on a grill. We bought that grill for a good price, bought the charcoal. We always are picking that stuff up because it's cheaper to buy it in the winter than it is the spring and summer. Buy a charcoal grill and some charcoal today. Number 9 and 10, these would be probably the most important. We depend on our phones, we depend on YouTube, we depend on reading things on our phones and to give us the information that we're needing, the content that we're needing, maybe to learn how to cook, learn how to do this or do that, learn how to prep, learn how to buy things, all that stuff, getting knowledge. It's good to have our phones, but guess what? There may be a time that we don't have our phones. So number 9, you need to start picking up some books. Any bookstore will have them. Any super center will have a little book section. You want to buy nonfiction books or even fictional books if you like reading, that's okay. But there's some things in there about gardening. There's some things about farming. There's some things about documentaries that you can learn from people's life to do better for yourself. So pick up a good book. I said this in yesterday or day before's video. I'm reading Warrior Poet Way. It's a great book. It's almost like a, it's a nonfiction, of course, a Christian-based book. John Lovell wrote about just being the man that you're supposed to be, being the woman you're supposed to be, and being the leader that you're supposed to be. So pick out some of those books and try to be better by reading. Even when it comes to homesteading, farming, gardening, all of those things I'd pick up in paperback form, foraging books, paperback form. So that way if all of a sudden you don't have your phone, you're not out of luck. You still have the things that you need to get things planted, things bought, things purchased, things picked, things foraged, and all the while you're taking care of your family. And number 10 goes along with that. At every store, there's going to be a section that has a religious or spiritual section. I skip all the terminology. Just buy a Bible. If you want to change your life and you really want to do something special for 2024, start reading the Word of God. I promise you it will change your life. I'm not trying to tell you to go to this person that's wrote a dissertation or an autobiography about the Bible. I say go to the Bible and start reading. Start reading the gospel. Start reading Proverbs and Psalms, getting wisdom. To be honest with you, that is what grounds me better when I talk about prepping or raising my family or raising a farm or being in stress. It's being grounded in my faith. So number 10 would be the most important, is picking up a Bible. Just try it. Try reading the Word of God, at least for January. I promise you, you're going to realize it's going to change your life. And actually, as a prepper, it makes everything easier and everything more attainable, because my goals and my aspirations and my faith is in something more than myself. Guys, pick up these from Walmart or your local super center today. These are all great buys, and you can pick them up over time. I'd start with number 9 and 10 probably first. Then I'd talk about the food and the water, and then maneuver onto some of these other prepping goods. 10 things that you should be purchasing today. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it, comment below, let me know what you think about it. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.
Nothing can break me.